Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. I hope everybody is doing great today on a Sunday. How's it going, everybody? I see everybody in the chat, and this is a Patreon / subscriber requested recap of Farscape. And you guys out there probably have a great advantage over me because I have never seen 1 second of it. The only time I've ever seen it is when I was going through my previews at my comic shop and I'd see Farscape stuff and hear about it from pretty much every customer telling me I should see this. And I just knew it had puppets in it. So I was like, I don't know if I could do puppets, dude. I don't know. So, and I felt the same way about new Doctor Who. And I'm a huge Doctor Who fan now, and I kind of jumped on to that pretty late and became this super obsessive fan. When I get into something, I really get into something. I have this ability to kind of rewatch stuff, and I don't lose my enjoyment of it if I like it. I can watch stuff over and over again. That's what made me a semi decent editor when I did that stuff. Down at Technicolor. And so yeah, jumped into Doctor Who late. Buffy, I got into Buffy at season 7 and became an obsessive fan. So yeah, I can Harry Potter. I got into Harry Potter and I read The Goblet of Fire first and kind of went back from there and became a huge fan of that. So I'm willing to try new things, but it takes me a while. Okay, that's the whole point. So we were talking in a few live streams, and everybody in the chat, especially Viking Bitch, she was the most vocal. But I did see Jody talk about it, Ghost World talk about it. I've even seen Man of Action talk about it in other places. That Farscape is the shit. And I watched the first episode yesterday, and I liked it. I actually liked it a lot. I've read in some reviews, I was reading some reviews before I started out, and a common theme in the reviews is it takes you a while to get there. You know, it takes a first few episodes. You're not really hooked in. It wasn't that way for me. I haven't seen the second episode, but I dug it. So I'm gonna go over it real quick. But again, you guys have a great advantage over me if you've seen this. So I'm not gonna get. These names are a little tough right now, but I'll go over. I tried to make notes on this, so we'll see how it is. But I'll get to the chat for hey. What's up, Man of Action? Yeah, I'm a little late. Sorry about that. I'm always a few minutes late. I have to go through this ritual before I start the live streams. It's kind of dumb, but it helps. It helps. So there we go. I feel your pain, Gary. I'm obsessive about this show. Yeah, when I get into something, I really get into something, which really helped at the comic shop. Okay, because the first thing I ever really got into was comic books, and we're 40 plus years into that, and they haven't gotten old for me yet. Some of them have gotten pretty crappy, but there's other good ones to read. So there you go. So yeah, this is just called Premiere, and Farscape, as you know, stars Ben Browder. So the only time I'd ever seen him was in Guardians of the Galaxy and in a Doctor Who episode. So, and I knew he was in Farscape, and I immediately like this dude, and I immediately wonder how come he's not a bigger star than he is. I don't understand. He seems like a pretty good leading dude, kind of funny, kind of Han Solo-ish. So he's is it an ISA? It's not a NASA astronaut, right? It's IASA or something like that. And he's also a scientist, and he developed a ship to use the gravity of the Earth to kind of slingshot out to kind of get us forward into interstellar space. Not unlike what they use in The Expanse. They use a lot of the slingshotting stuff. It's more for fun in The Expanse, or not for fun. It's kind of a daredevil thing you do. You slingshot around the Earth and see how fast you can go, and you usually end up dying. But yeah, so he and his buddy DK had developed this gravity slingshot, and it shows him the day before, the day of the launch, and he's talking to his dad, who is Kent McCord from Adam 12, and I'm like, I thought this was a BBC show. I'm like, what's Kent McCord doing in this? So I went to Wikipedia, like everybody does, and found out this is an Australian show, which I had no idea. I was like, all this time I thought it was a BBC show. So what the hell do I know? So yeah, so he slingshots himself. They get him and his dad have a little talk, right? And his dad gives him his good luck charm. He gets in the ship. They do the slingshot, and of course, there's some anomaly out there. It was some anomaly, and he gets shot through a wormhole, and he ends up in a space battle. And immediately you see these. This is why I thought it was BBC. It's very well. I think it's the effects on BBC. I really like them. I know they don't look great, but they look. Oh God, what's the best way to put it? They look like After Effects before After Effects. And also, these shows are shot in PAL, which makes things. It's a different frame rate, and it makes things look a little different. So I've always liked the English special effects. I go back to the Hitchhiker TV show, which I freaking loved. Although they didn't look good, but they looked cool. So I don't know if that makes sense. Sometimes bad special effects can look very cool. And I've always been a fan of the BBC special effects, and especially, the Doctor Who stuff. And, what made it easy for me, especially when we start seeing more puppets, is I am a fan of old Doctor Who. And if this is in the same wheelhouse. If you can handle some of the horrible costuming from the third and fourth Doctor era, not saying it was much better after that, but it was. You can handle anything in this. So, and also, I did not know that the Hensons were involved with the puppets. So we got Brian Henson, who I'm assuming is Jim Henson's son. And this show was created by Rockne O'Bannon, which I didn't look for sure, but I bet you he's related to Dan O'Bannon. I wouldn't be surprised. And so I started noticing that, there actually was some pretty, decent creative minds behind this show. And then I was wondering why didn't it ever get picked up in America? I don't understand. So, the pilot, John Crichton, gets sucked through a wormhole. He's in a battle in space. And he sees this, he gets sucked into this giant spaceship. He doesn't know what's going on. He sees a little robot who kind of knocks him out a little bit, and he's walking around, and walks up to the bridge, and he sees a male form and a female form from their backs piloting. It looks like frantically, and they're trying. Looks like they're in the midst of battle, and we hear this language they don't understand. This little robot comes up and injects him in the foot, and all of a sudden he can understand what everybody's saying, and they're trying to escape. And they want to know if he knows how to do it. How the hell did he just show up in this? And when he came through the wormhole, he tagged a little spaceship apparently, and I guess that spaceship blew up after it nicked him a little bit. That comes up later. It's a big deal apparently. So he runs through the ship. He doesn't really give them much information because he has no idea where the hell he is. When he first got through, he was trying to contact, Cape Canaveral, wherever the hell it was. And, they obviously he figured out he wasn't in Kansas anymore. He saw a bunch of asteroids flying around in ships. So yeah, he's on the ship, and, they're frantically trying to escape. And, Dargo is his name, the Klingon dude. So he's from some, a Luxon warrior race, which is, I wrote down Klingon dude. And, he's like, well, you can't help me. So he runs up to the bridge, and he starts digging through the control panel and just starts ripping stuff out. And he gets to the point where there's and they have some big clamp on the ship. So you could tell they're about to be captured. There's some giant clamp on the ship, and he digs through the controls, and it releases the clamp or whatever it was. And they're able to escape. And through this, we find this was a prison ship, and these are escaped prisoners. They lock John Crichton up, and we see our first puppet, who's the pilot, and he's just I don't think he's going to be doing a lot of movement. I don't know about further in the series, but he looks pretty locked in, and he can release control, so you can do manual control. But that, and again, the puppet didn't look that bad to me. I was like, okay, it's I was warned about the puppets. I know about puppets. I'm a fan of Dark Crystal, so I'm okay with this stuff. So I guess that's the biggest hurdle you have to get over with this show, right? Is and I don't know, I don't know the captain's name out there. You guys can help me with that, but excuse me. As I go on further in this, which I'm going to continue to do, I will get more familiar with the names and stuff. But again, this is that's why I called this show the Nerdrotic Maidenhead. It's I'm busting my virginity on this show. So never too late for this. And it came out. It was what, the 4 seasons. It was 1999 and 2003. And when I'm done with my little recap, I've got a fan theory that I formulated at the comic store. Fans migrate. There's only a certain number of us who like a certain type of thing, and we migrate from show to show or thing to thing. And I definitely have a theory that this show really had a lot to do with New Who taking off and being successful. This show and something else. So they escape, blah blah blah, and when Dargon was digging through the control panel, he guessed that fluid was pretty important because the ship, which is called Moya, it's a Leviathan ship, is alive. So it's a living ship, and it has some kind of relationship with the captain there, and it really needs that fluid. So they're not going to be able to get very far very fast without that fluid. So they need to replenish it. They find a planet. So we get that, but they locked up John Crichton, and he was naked. And he gets up, gets his clothes on, and we met earlier Rigel, who was the other puppet. And he had mentioned earlier that, I'll help you. I'll protect you right now from these two, but you got to help me later. So we already know he's kind of a shady character. But we find out that Rigel, at least so he says in this episode, is an emperor of 600 billion people. He's Rigel the 16th. And we get a little characterization of him. And then we shoot to another scene where we have, and I'm going to mess up her name. Hang on. Let me get to IMDb. Jesus. I thought I had it written down. My writing's so crappy right now. My writing goes through phases. It can be good and bad. It is, I'm just going to call her Zoda or Zon. I'll just call her Zon. Zon and Dargon have a little talk. Dargon, or Dargo. Sorry about Dargo. Why did I put an N at the end there? And it's spelled like Diargo. They have a little talk, and we get some characterization with him. Like, he's from this warrior race, but he's kind of a baby. He's kind of young. He's only been through like 2 campaigns. He says he's 30 cycles old. So I'm going to assume that's 30. It's not that young. And she is a priestess of some culture, and they have a little exchange, and he talks about, oh, you have some maneuver or whatever you do. So she sounds like a sex priestess of some kind, and she's the anarchist of her race, like the anarchist, the head of it. So that's why she was on the prison ship. Dargo was on the prison ship because he killed his commanding officer. And then we cut back to the prison cell where Rigel's, talking. You see him pressing a bunch of buttons, and he's talking to John, and John's just trying to figure out where the hell he is. And Rigel explains, like, hey, we don't know who you are, where you're from, and you could be as dangerous as that thing over there. And then you see that he's got somebody in the prison cell with him, and she takes off her helmet, and that is Aaron Sun. And automatically we have, love interest comes in. So love interest takes her helmet off, and she's pretty badass. And she's a warrior from the peacekeeping force, who are they remind me a lot of, and I'm sure Joss Whedon, God, what were they called again? In Serenity, they weren't the Empire. They were meant to look like the Empire, but they were more like I was a Federalist or something like that. I completely blank in it, but it reminds me a lot of that. So I don't know if they're like particularly super evil or more like bureaucratic evil. I don't know, but she is one of the pilots, because two ships. Well, a ship got destroyed, and then one got sucked in by the Leviathan before it escaped. So then we also see the peacekeeping force, and the captain there had noticed, was asking about his brother and when his brother was going to come in, and the ship that got destroyed when John's ship came in was his brother's ship. So he's obviously pissed, and he's, it seemed like they weren't a big enough deal to the peacekeeping force normally to even pursue. Like they wouldn't even care or put it in their logs. But since the brother got killed, they're, breaking ranks, and they're going after him no matter what. So they head down to this planet, and they need to barter some of that fluid for the ship. In the meantime, they have to feed the prisoners because they want to know from the one pilot if she knows of any peacekeeping presence down on the planet. And of course, she's not talking. She's putting silverware in her upper sleeve and stuff so she can escape later. They catch her. But John Crichton had done the same thing. So when they lock him back up, she's like, yeah, he helps her escape. They escape, and they go down to the planet in her ship. And she had contacted the peacekeeping force and told them where they were. So they find while they're down there bartering, there's a funny little scene with between two puppets. Basically, it's Rigel trying to barter some stuff with this giant puppet, which you can totally tell is like attached to a wall, but it's really cool. It's got like this huge mouth, kind of like a weird predator type mouth. And they have to cut off their bartering because they know the peacekeeping force is coming after them. So they're going to bust out. And apparently, Aaron and John have bonded in their 5 minutes together. And it's a pilot episode. Come on. It's totally excusable. Krypton was kind of like this, too. It was just like really fast paced. And you know what? It kind of makes us miss these innocent times where we can just go, hey, these two people are thrown together. She's a bad guy, but we're not going to play around with her turning good, we're just going to make it happen, in a couple episodes, and we're just going to roll with it. And I kind of like that. It's like, we're just setting some stuff up here. It's not super important why we're setting this stuff up. Maybe we'll fill in the blanks later, and it's cool, and if it's well done, it's cool. And what I immediately figured out about this show is what people like about it. And that was evident in the first, I would say, 10 minutes, which is, this is a character driven show. It's really not about some overarching plot. Kind of like Battlestar Galactica. It started out as a very, Cylon versus humans thing, but it turned into a character show, like middle of the first season. This one starts out that way, and it's very Buffy-like in that sense. And that's what I find redeeming about it. Or not redeeming, but good. But that's what I find good about it. I think it's a good character show. And immediately you start liking a couple of the characters. Some, I'm not sure I'm there yet, but we'll see. So they have to escape the planet. The peacekeeping force gets down there. The captain, gets to Aaron and sees that she's got the human with him. They were able to get a picture of him, figure who he was. So the captain's hot on like figuring out who the hell this dude is. He sees him, and he tells John, like, you killed my brother. And John's like, whoa, that was an accident. And even Aaron backs him up. She's like, sir, I've spent a little time with this human, and it was a bit of an accident. And the captain's like, how much time have you spent? And John's like, none, like nearly none at all. But you kind of find out that she's bred to be this way, to be a warrior. She's like infantry. So she's kind of disposable. And they also have a quick little scene earlier about, compassion, something she knows about, but doesn't like worry about too much. She hates it. So she probably doesn't have a lot of experience in like liking somebody. So when you first like somebody for the first time, you get a little bit attached to them. Okay. Kind of like virginity, kind of like this show, kind of like me watching this show. So the captain catches on, like, he's getting way too close to her. So you might be contaminated. So we're going to lock everybody up and let's get the hell out of here. So they also catch Dargo. So they're running off, and one of the guards gets distracted by John's good luck charm that he got from his dad. And John is able to escape, and they escape the planet, and they get Aaron to come with them. It takes a little coaxing, but not much. And they get back up to the Leviathan. The Maya. I say Leviathan. God dang it. It's the Maya, right? Mayo. So, and I'll get to the chat in a second. I'll just finish up my little recap here, and then we'll start chit chatting away. So they get up there and they realize they don't have enough, they can't get away fast enough. The distance between the pursuing ship is, what was it, 45 metas. And they have frag cannons. Nobody wants to get fragged by a frag cannon. So John sciences their ass out of there. He gets a pen and starts writing on the floor. And of course, they use the gravity slingshot technique with the show, and they get past him and they escape. And the captain of the other ship is really pissed, and he scowls at the screen. Everybody's really grateful. John gets an ear sex hug from Zahn, and we get like a little more characterization with each character at the end. There's a lot of sitting around. You see some naked meditating with Zahn, and Dargo sharpening his sword, and John has a little recorder, and he starts leaving a recording for his dad, just telling him he's alive and telling him there's life out there, and it's really strange. Rigo tries to take it from him, and he's all, yeah, Rigo, this is did I say Rigo? God dang it. Rigel. Sorry. Rigel. Sorry. He tries to take it from him, and the recorder, and he's all, this stuff is mine. And Rigel's all, well, do you sleep well at night? And, rolls away in his little wheelchair or wheel throne or whatever the hell it is. So we know like he's the sketchy dude, and we hear that John's never gonna, stop trying to get home. And also the escape was piloted by Sun, so she's like on the team now. But she also at the end warns him like, "Hey, you need to pick your allegiances. Like, the peacekeeping force would have actually helped you if you would have told them what was going on." So I don't know how incredibly evil the peacekeeping force is. We'll see. And I noticed the show again was created. I saw Brian Henson's name, so I was like, okay, cool. It's well, God, yeah. One of the interviews we're going to try to get on the show, and earlier, speaking of Henson, is my wife's client is working on Dark Crystal 2, so we're trying to get her on at some point in time. If you guys are Dark Crystal fans, we're actually lining up some cool stuff. So anyway, Farscape was cool. I liked it a lot. Dennis said he gave it a shot. He didn't like it. I might bug him to try to watch it again, but if not, then I'll just be doing these little solo recaps of it. They'll be a little cleaner once I get, I'm still working on doing solo live streams, so please forgive me. So let's get to the chat. Again, we have Man of Action here, who I've seen it. God, man, everywhere. Man of Action. I've seen you on all kinds of streams. You're all over the place, and you're good. You're funny, man. And Viking Bitch, who this is the reason this video is happening, with the coaxing of others. But she's been very supportive. What's up, Mark? Blaze 8, Silver Spike 1, Jody. How's it going, Jody? J Tank 7. How's it going? Ben Dover. Oh, it's always good to see Ben Dover come back again. It's a classic, that name. It's, it is. It made me laugh when I was 7, and it still makes me laugh when I'm 48. It's kind of funny. Okay. So Rottenorg just simply says, Farscape is awesome. And so many people say that. And I was noticing, if you go to IMDb, there is this interest gauge, right? So it gauges interest in your show, and it's real time, and it's day to day, and it changes day to day. And I have been kind of addicted to going back at that, because that's how I judge interest in the recaps we're doing. And it's crazy. It could be show by show. Like X-Files is a great example. When Familiar came out, the X-Files interest gauge was above, like it was at 120, 122%. From being a minus. It was below, it was like minus 16%, and then it just dropped right back down for the last two episodes. It was crazy. So the interest gauge on Farscape, I just saw it. It was something really insane. Let's go and take a look at, there we go. So it's popularity. It's shooting way up. It's at a plus 22. It's 985th on all of IMDb, but for a show that has been gone for 15 years, That's pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible. And I don't know how you guys, I like, this is a show like ripe for a remake, but well, not a remake. I bring back at least Ben Browder. I mean, I don't know if you can do it without Ben Browder, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. Like, how would you like a Farscape, like, somebody else taking a shot at it, or just it's been a big thing now about series revivals. Now that we've seen this, with I didn't watch the Gilmore Girls or Fuller House or anything, but now that we saw it with Ash vs. Evil Dead done very well, and Roseanne is coming back, like, how do you guys feel about these? I kind of wondering what took them so goddamn long to do this stuff. They're bringing back shows that got canceled like 4 years ago. So I really hope they do this with Buffy, and I wouldn't be sad if they. I'd be very happy if they did it with this show, but I got to get through it first. And I heard it only gets better. A Viking Bitch says it originally aired on the Sci-Fi Channel, and that's when it was spelled SCIFI, not the SYFI. Although really loving the Sci-Fi Channel right now. I think they're doing some. I can't stand their website, but I do like their channel. I cannot read their website though. It is, ooh, man, it is very IO9ish. I'll just say that. By the way, I might be doing a video on the IO9 article that we talked about last night's podcast. I read it again, and it irked me again. This show is the only sci-fi show you honestly need, says Man of Action. I need a lot of sci-fi shows, but so far, I gotta agree with you. It's pretty damn good. Viking Bitch said she was hooked after episode 3. Man of Action said he was hooked after episode 5. Look at us. And, yeah, this is one of those things, and Dennis rightly so gets on me about it. Like, I'll just be really resistant to stuff. I don't know, I don't got time. Then I watch, I'm like, oh, that was the greatest thing ever. Because that was one of the things that really helped me at the comic stores. I kind of except for some later Star Wars stuff, I kind of like everything. As far as comics, I like the crappiest comics. Blaze 8 says Farscape, love the series back then. I still love the show, says Viking Bitch. Oh, Wayo Silver Spike says I used to work on the physical effects on Classic Who. That is awesome. What'd you do? Yeah, when I was working at the Hensons, they were just starting to design characters for Farscape. The pilot was sculpted there. It was huge. Oh, that is cool. That is rad. Oh my God, working on classic Doctor Who. I bet you, man, you should start a channel and just tell stories. I'd watch. I'd definitely watch. I have a million questions for you. Get in touch with me. I saw Jody in here. Hello, Jody. They do a much better job on, is it Dargo or Dargo? I'm just going to say Dargo for right now. Makeup on season 2. Yeah, I noticed his hands didn't have any makeup on him. It was just that he had like human hands when he was sharpening his sword. I'm all, yeah. Silver Spike. Yes. Yes. K Diargo sort of made me think of dwarves from fantasy series like Lord of the Rings or Dungeons and Dragons for some reason. Yeah, he's definitely, I mean, Klingons, the newer version of them, not the original series Klingons, are definitely dwarvish, warriorish. Like, yeah, totally. Captain Crace. It's Crace, right? Not Crace. Yeah, it's Crace. Thank you. But in space. We'll be easy on you, neurotic. You don't have to be easy. It's all right. It's actually it's good to not be easy on me. I actually respond well to negative criticism and positive sometimes. If Farscape wouldn't have been canceled, Ben Browder wouldn't have ruined Stargate. Says Love Pod. So he was on Stargate. Was it the SG-1 Stargate? Oh, that sucks. Did he really ruin Stargate, or are we going to get a fight here? I never watched Stargate because I was too pissed they canceled Farscape. Well, did one have to do with the other? I don't think so. Um, yeah, I've never seen Stargate. Dennis loves the Stargate. He should do one of these for Stargate. I think so. Uh, it's Bialar. What's Bialar? Oh, is that the name of the pilot? Viking bitch. Thank you. Rigel is awesome. I kind of like Rigel. Um, is he really an emperor of 600 billion, or is he just a bullshitter? Um, I got to start watching again. Yeah, Rigel the 16th is such an endearing, self-serving son of a bitch. You know, my heart goes out to endearing, self-serving son of a bitches. I'm friends with Dennis. Nah, just kidding, Dennis. Love you, man. Blue lady. I gotta admit, we're all friends here, right? This won't get out anywhere. I've got a bit of a fetish, and my fetish is blue and green alien women. I've got a thing, and it goes way back to um, oh my god, why? See, this sucks when you get old. Um, Batgirl was in the original series and she played this green alien, and I was very young, and I think that might have been my very first crush. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's I got a thing for alien, and that's probably also why I liked Wicked so much. The play, yeah, I did. I liked it. The play, not the movie, the play. Uh Yeah, green and blue women got a thing. Is that weird? Probably not. Not to us here. Um, yeah, so I was going to go out and buy this, and I probably am now. And I was blown away at how expensive the freaking Blu-rays still are. When you can currently get Battlestar Galactica, I know I'm repeating myself, but some people might be watching this for the first time from last Friday. But when you currently get Battlestar Galactica, the entire season on Blu-ray for $49 on Amazon, it was $100 for the entire series of Farscape. Now they're both equal length, 4 seasons. But I think I'm going to lay down the $100 and just buy it. I actually purchased this episode on YouTube. I am going to support YouTube while I am on YouTube. I know a lot of people bitch about YouTube, and they might have good reason. I will not be one of them. Although our Krypton video is still demonetized. Don't know why. Did I say something in that? Did I say one of my bad jokes? I might have. But I mean, much worse has gotten by and been monetized. Like when I made the joke on Jessica Jones, the Lou Gehrig's joke, which is going to send me straight to hell. It didn't get demonetized. So Aaron is a peacekeeper. Aren't they so like militarized police? Yeah, they are. But I like how they present them as like we're kind of thinking they're evil, but maybe they're not entirely like bureaucratically evil, which is still kind of evil. Orlando Rodriguez Bringas says Farscape is the greatest show ever. Man, it's got some passionate fans. That's for sure. I like if I even started talking shit about it at the comic store, even tongue in cheek, people would get mad. They would threaten to like leave my comic shop. So I would shut up. Yes, there are times I would actually shut up. Or that's the cause they were actually fully realized characters as opposed to one-dimensional cutouts. Absolutely. So many shows can go back and learn from what they just did in this pilot episode, which was we quickly learned that John was just in a few minutes, we learned that he's a little weirded out by being in his dad's shadow, but he still loves his dad. He doesn't resent his dad, but he resents being in his shadow. His dad is very supportive and says, hey, you're doing stuff I couldn't do. I was just a grunt, and you're actually, you're the scientist here. So I'm really proud of you. So he got to say he was proud of his son before he took off. His best friend, DK, and him worked on this little science fair. So, he's got like a good friend. And just through one little scene, we know John Crichton. We know he's pretty much, he loves his dad. He's a scientist. He's a good dude, but he's not so sure. He's not getting these rattlers in his stomach. So he's been on the shuttle twice. His dad's been on the moon. And that was all like in 5 minutes. And we didn't have to find out that he secretly has a a Vicodin addiction, or he's twice divorced, or he was abused as a child, or anything like that. We actually saw a good dad and a son talking. When was the last time we saw that fucking show? Excuse me, man. That's another video for some days. Pardon my cussing and my anger with that. But yeah, Hollywood has a hard time with dads lately. Maybe I'll wait for Father's Day and I'll do my video Viking Bitch that we were talking about on Father's Day. Um, uh, Scorpy's pretty awesome too. Which one was Scorpy? Was that the pilot, or is that a character that comes in later? I know there's a character that comes in later, who I'm probably going to like a lot with my whole fetish thing. So yeah. Does he even appear in season 1? Yeah, see, I didn't catch a Scorpy. First time I saw Shanna, my first reaction was, what are they adding a bimbo to the mix? After I watched a couple of episodes, she became my favorite character. So that's the one I'm going to like a lot. That's the one I remember. I was like, where is she? That's the one that's like sticks in my head. So did people think she was going to be like the 7 of 9 of Farscape? Well, that was probably, no, that was around the same time, right? Scorpy is at the end of season 1. Thank you, Viking Bitch. Yeah, episode 19, I think. Man, you all did watch. You all watch Farscape, and I have not. Man, I am way behind. And actually, this is bad. I should have watched this show because I really tried to take in everything. I took being a comic shop owner very seriously, and I read an insane amount of comics every day. I started watching shows I never would have watched, and some of them really did suck. But and I read comics I hated, and I read them all the way through because I needed to be informed. One of the biggest problems at a comic shop, even today, it wasn't at my regular comic shop, but I went to another one yesterday, and I asked them about a comic. It was like the hottest comic that just came out. Well, one of them, it was an Avengers comic where Bruce Banner comes back as the Hulk, and none of the people who worked at the store read it. And I was like, because I wanted to talk about it. I was like, man, this is a good comic. And they're like, oh, we didn't read it. We didn't read it. Now, they sounded like they're pretty down on Marvel, which I can't really blame them for. But it's good to read your stuff. And so yeah, it was bad of me not to have watched Farscape now. Blue Ladies. How about Liara Siona from Mass Effect? There you go. That's a game, right? See, maybe it's something I should start playing now. That might be bad though. I can't this podcasting can be my only hobby. Actually, I've had to like hang up on a couple of other hobbies to do this one, but it's fine. I love this hobby. Badass is the key word. That takes commitment. Scorpius Rock's one of the best sci-fi villains ever. So I got something to look forward to. Nice. Nope, she actually shaved. So Zahn actually shaved her head. I'm just going to put out there that I wish she hadn't have done. I don't know if that's I saw a recent picture of her because I was going up on IMDb, and looks like she did some of the plastic surgery stuff. I really don't like that. I know my wife's in the beauty industry and everything, but I just that doesn't need to be done, in my opinion. Old is not bad. Old is not bad. But I like her character a lot. And the little ear sex hug thing was hilarious. That was so funny. David Hill and complex, like Lex Luthor at his best. And they're talking about Scorpio. So that's something to look forward to. Zahn is a peerless psychopath. She's using the priestess stuff to try to help herself because she knows she is a stone cold killer. Ooh, really? That is kind of awesome. What's up, Ed Brewer? If that is true, then I am intrigued. So yeah, it was total setup episode, but I was in like I said, like 5 minutes. The effects were a little dark, but I liked them a lot. They okay, the only thing that was just bad, okay, was that theme song, man. That theme song, I was like, okay, I can see why people just go, woo. at the beginning of that show. I don't know if they change it or not. I'll be skipping the theme song. Theme songs are very important. Okay, they are. I know some people might like the tongue-in-cheek old Star Trek, because I think that's what they were kind of trying to do, was give it a little original series, twang to it. But it was, oh man, it was so 1999. But Action Man, but Zahn fights against her darkness, which is what makes her so compelling. That's cool. So these are really layered out characters, right? So and yeah, so if this is a character driven show, I'm gonna love it, because that's kind of my favorite thing. BB says, you're making me bite your tongue. Don't bite your tongue here. Do not bite your tongue here. But beware of the Viking bitch. She is aptly named, I will just say. Jody, it's still my all-time favorite show ever. More than Vikings? She is so awesome, says Ray Rain. And like, if you guys are, I don't mind about being spoiled stuff, because I have no idea what's going on. And I'm not a spoiler phobe. Working in the comic shop, everything got spoiled for me, because I knew I had a couple friends at like Lucasfilm at the time, and they would just call me and tell me shit, like uninitiated, like, hey, so and so, like, Iron Patriot's going to be in Iron Man 2, just out of the blue. I'm like, okay. I didn't want to be surprised about that, but yeah, I learned not to, it's whatever. They were, just, they were excited. Yeah, strap yourself in for a ride of your life, Gary. Things are about to get trippy. I love trippy. I really do. Ray Rain says, I love that song, and maybe I'll get used to it. Okay. The song, he says the song, Man of Action says the song does take some getting used to. Ben Dover says, the theme changes. The second one is definitely better. And I love the theme song. Season 2's, I love more. That's cool. And again, maybe it'll grow on me. I mean, when you're affectionate about a show, you love everything about it. So, I got you there. What happened to TV theme songs? Asks Ed Brewer. Excuse me. What happened to cinema scores? As great as the MCU is, it's got the most generic cinema scores ever. It seems like they've been picking up on that of late, but like Thor Ragnarok was pretty good. That was a good score. That was fun. And that was the one thing I really dug about Black Panther, was they gave it a cinema score, and they didn't really go where everybody thought they would go, which I'm very happy about. I kind of like Lex. It was weird. And then it says, hot alien ladies, wait till you get to Neem, Gary. Okay. There you go. As the show goes on, the development of the characters keeps going. You end up knowing more about this show's characters than most sci-fi shows. That's good to hear. The blue makeup on Virginia War ended up making her sick. Oh, no, really? Damn. I've heard that from somewhere else too. I can't remember what other show, but I've heard that from somewhere. I was watching a Razor Fist video. He does a great retrospective on DS9, and he was talking about the actor from Princess Bride, the one who goes inconceivable, was Ferengi, and the makeup was making. He was allergic to the makeup, and he just manned up through it and was sick the entire episode, but like didn't complain, finished, did his work and left like a pro. Gotta admire that. Yeah, the rock jumping episode with Guyana was really depressing. Viking Bitch says, but good dark as opposed to overly histrionic emo dark. There is a difference. Season 3 was super dark. Every good show has their dark. I mean, Buffy, season 6. Freaking, what was it? Battlestar Galactica, season 3. Okay. Got to go, guys, but I expect more Farscape from you. Great job as always. Well, thank you, J Tank 7. You have a good day. You take care. I loved Pilot and Aaron's relationship. I can't wait to find out. I really can't. I can't. This was is a good show, and I even I brought a prop, and the prop is some string cheese, because everybody likes cheese, right? It just depends on what kind of cheese you like. This is actually my second favorite cheese. I like mozzarella, but uh, I love string cheese. Okay. And I love cheese in my shows. I love my shows being a little bit cheesy sometimes. They don't have to be all straight and dark. I like fun. And it seems like we've lost a lot of that. I blame Watchmen for pretty much ruining entertainment. It went way beyond comics because it's the I blame Watchmen just because it was there, and Dark Knight Returns and the 80s and everything got grounded and dark. But the 80s used to have like a lot of fun with that stuff, but it seems like it's just grown to get more and more dark and depressing. That's why I backed out of Walking Dead. Nothing against that show. I read all the comics. And there was one point where I got to the comic and I'm like, well, okay, Kirkman has come out and said that we're never going to find out where the zombies came from. And honestly, that's the only thing I care about at this point is I want to know where the zombies came from. So I'm out. And I kind of figured the show would go in the same direction. I was hoping they would go against that, but Kirkman's heavily involved in it. And again, nothing gets to show. It's the first, it had a rough second season, but like season 1, season 3, and up to season 5, it was a pretty freaking solid show that a lot of people watched. Okay. Even Game of Thrones with all its weird darkness, there's some levity in it, mostly Tyrion. But there's levity in it. I never found that in Walking Dead. That's why I just kind of checked out. Even with Battlestar Galactica, it had, Starbuck, both versions. It had Starbuck. It had something to lighten it up and make it cool. This show is cool. I mean, it's super nerdy. Don't get me wrong. This is like level 11 nerd right here, but Ben Browder is cool. And there's something, it's got a little swagger about it. I can tell. And that's what I loved when I got into New Who. Chris Eccleston got me in. That's what got me in. And Tennant was cool. And Matt Smith was cool to a certain extent. But then it stopped being cool. It just flat out stopped being cool to watch and fun to watch. It got really weird. So I like fun and thrilling first. I like stakes. I do like it when they do crazy dark stuff, but that's why I still love Ash versus Evil Dead. Ash versus Evil Dead is a great show that deals with very dark material and just gores the hell out of you, but it's funny. It is like one of the funniest things ever. At least first 2 seasons were. Not too sure about this third one. Yeah. If you're talking about Star-Lord, the Guardians would fit in this universe great, I think. I think I think they should bring it back. It's ripe to bring it back. They're bringing back worse stuff than this. And it obviously has like the craziest fan base. Do they still do like Farscape conventions, or are they just part of other conventions now? Or did they ever do Farscape conventions? There's got to be some groups out there that I am not aware of. Ben Browder would have been a perfect Han Solo. He would have. He's got the right voice. That's for sure. That kid in that Solo movie, again, he kind of looks like him. I mean, the looking part is fine. I got no problem with that. It's that voice. If George Lucas was making this movie, he would have gotten somebody to dub over his voice. Just because that's what George likes to do. They used to do conventions, says Viking Bitch. I would totally go to one. Yes, after one episode, but I like going to this stuff. I ever tell you a story? Melissa and I, my wife, we thought man, we've never became part of a nerd community. We've always been huge nerds, but I've never became active in a fandom. I never did forums. Actually, this YouTube thing is the first time I've actually, other than the comic store, like got involved. I never got involved in forums or, you know, Twitter, but Twitter was more just like talking shit, and I had to leave. So we decided to become brown coats. We're like, we're going to become brown coats. Let's do it. So we went to the brown coats meeting at Comic-Con, and we left in 5 minutes. I was like, oh shit. It was just, there are limits. There are limits to my nerd. But it was weird. It was weird. I've been to a couple of Star Trek things, way more normal. And yes, that people talking Klingon to each other and stuff. That stuff can be normal to me. But it's hard to explain. But the brown coat stuff was just weird. It just got a little weird. I think the actors still do autograph signings at cons. I will definitely check them out. Yes, I saw Ben Browder in Guardians of the Galaxy. He needs more work. But I'm interested. Who said back there that he ruined Stargate? How did he ruin Stargate? Maybe it was the writing. Star Trek was normal. LOL, said Ed Brewer. I mean, to me, there's always, normal is relative, to be honest with you. For me, I don't want to talk too much shit about the Browncoats because they're really passionate, and I don't even want any potential blowback from that because it's not an argument I'm interested in having. But yeah, it was just like I said, my nerd has limits, has serious limits, and I found that out. I'm like, I cannot do this. I cannot do, because they were discussing Mal's haircut and how to get a perfect Mal haircut, and there was about 10 guys in there with a Mal haircut, which was, I just thought that was weird. That was just me. It's like, dressing up for cons and stuff like that, but like rolling around in your daily life like that. I don't know. I don't know about that. To each his own, really. But yeah, I heard someone else say the same thing about brown coat. Says, how's your father? Yeah, it's you just, you know what? Go to one of their meetings if you want to be seriously entertained. I'll just say that. They were discussing Mal haircuts because they had them. Oh, like Mal's gun. Okay, yeah, that like what can it do? Like, what's it shoot? What's the whatever. They all said shiny. Yeah, that was the other thing. They did, Mark. Leaf in the wind, Gary. I am a leaf in the wind. I am. Hey, I fucking love Serenity and Firefly. Try someone asking Michael Dorn what it was like on the bridge of a Klingon ship. Everyone was rolling their eyes. Oh my God. I'll throw this out to the patrons. I've got the Q&A for the only time Sarah Michelle Gellar went to Comic-Con and did a Q&A and never returned after this Q&A. It was hilarious. Because like nobody could get a question out. Everybody was all, I just love Buffy. Buffy's so good. And do you want to do Buffy again? And she was there doing a movie. And so they even asked at the front, it's like, hey, you can, we'll take a couple of Buffy questions, but we're here for the Grudge, and nobody talked about the Grudge. Like, it was funny. The issue with him and her on Stargate was they tried to bring the same tone to their characters to SG-1, and it was in competition with the other already established character chemistry. Yeah, wow, that's it says Man of Action, by the way. That's troublesome. That's dumb. When they were in their scenes, Farscape popped out, and when they were in their scenes with other characters, they were kind of overshadowed by already established tone of the show. And I know enough about Stargate that it's not Farscape for sure. And maybe I'll give Stargate a chance someday. I totally based my judgment off the movie, which I was not a fan of. So wait, what? Yes, and it had Kurt Russell in it, and I didn't like it. Wait, what? Seriously? They did that to Sarah Michelle. Yeah, it's so funny. And as far as I know, she's never been back to con. So, uh, they did a parody of Farscape on SG1. They did. Uh, Aaron has better chemistry with Daniel in SG1. Interesting. Uh, just stick with Farscape, Gary. Yeah, I probably will because there's only so much time in the day, and I have to. God, like after this, I have to watch 3 CW episodes to prepare for our debate tonight. Yeah, that too. The parody thing did not go over well. So they really did a parody. Really? Yeah. You don't want to break the fourth wall that much. You really don't. Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap this up because I have to watch our next podcast. Actually, my wife's on a photo shoot all day, so I can podcast all damn day. So we're gonna be back in a couple hours and we're gonna put the CW thing to bed because Dennis always, we back channel message each other. My co-host Dennis, if this is the first time you're watching our show. So we talk to each other pretty much all day, every day, as much as I talk to my wife, which is like my wife and I are messaging. I mean, she just shot me a couple messages right now while I'm podcasting. We talk to each other all damn day. I'm sure many of you do that too. But Dennis is always trying to like, this thing happened on the CW show and this thing happened. I'm like, dude, we're not doing CW shows. We're just not. I don't have time to watch all those damn CW shows, and I'm honestly out on them. I can't watch them anymore. They're not what they started out to be. And I know if you've been watching it all the way through, you might have noticed that they're completely different shows than what they started out to be. They're still very comic booky and superhero, but there's always some weird love triangle and everybody has got powers. Oh, wow. Thank you, Viking bitch. You're very welcome. Nice $2 super chat there. $2. So I was kind of out. Also, what wasn't the CW's fault was Daredevil came out and it kind of ruined it for me. It's just like, oh, that's how you do superhero TV. So I'm getting into the show Supernatural. I've never seen it before. I don't know if you're serious, but that was funny anyway. Love the first season and I'm hooked so far. There you are. For real. It's the show that will never end. If you're not joking, man of action, I don't mean to laugh at you, sir. The first 5 seasons are actually really damn good. Really damn good. I watched up till season 6 or 7. I'd probably jump into it, but I like Supernatural a lot. I thought it was very good. There he goes. Yeah, from seasons 1 through 5 were just rock solid, man. Rock solid. Ben Edlund had some involvement in that show. Viking bitch rocks. Thanks, Gary. Yes, we know Viking bitch rocks. Yeah, we got some Doomcock news to talk about too. So you've never seen it either. Okay, so tonight we're going to be it's going to be an open live stream. It's just going to start out with me and Dennis debating like why he still watches the CW and why I don't. And we're going to base it off their last 3 episodes. So I'm going to watch the latest episode, whenever it was, of Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and Flash. We're not going to count Black Lightning or Supergirl because they don't really take place directly in that universe, nor iZombie because it doesn't. And it's just for time. So we're going to go with the 3 main ones: Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, and Arrow. And what's the Doomcock news? We are in touch, Jody. We Viking bitch has done more than she ever needs to do, but she nudged me. I'm really crappy about getting back on emails. I'm trying to get better at it. It's really a bad habit, but I'm easily distracted. We'll just say I'm very I do a lot. I'm very, I'm no busier than any other human being, but like this is the only time I ever spend on the computer. I'm usually off doing something. Doomcock news. There will be, I'll have some definitive Doomcock news. He sent me an email back. I need to read it. I need to read it. So, and I probably shouldn't say more than that because I don't want to. Nothing is for sure at all. Nothing is for sure at all. But I want it. I want it. It's just a matter of coordination. But I think it can happen. Totally. I don't want to ruin his character. He's very evil and he wants to take over the planet. Don't ever doubt that. Doomcock is evil, but he's our kind of evil. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and if you don't know who I'm talking about, Overlord DVD is his YouTube channel. It is one of the funniest and smartest YouTube channels you will see. I got Burnout on Arrow, was a great show for the first 2 or 3 seasons, but it lost something at the end of the second season and the third season. Could not agree more, man of action. And that is going to be part of my my thesis tonight. So I'm going to run. Everybody, thank you for coming in the chat. Penn Farm Girl, how are you doing? Everybody needs to tune in tonight and bug Dennis to give Farscape at least a couple more episodes. I agree. Let's do it. Let's gang up on Dennis. Let's do it. Definitely a fun show. Just after watching one, I'm going to continue doing it. I will, as time permits, I will come on and talk about, I don't know if it's going to be each individual. It'll probably go to seasons after this, just because of time. But yeah, I'll burn through season 1 probably in a week. So yeah, so every week or so I'll pop up with a Farscape review and we can hang out and talk about Farscape, and you can watch me go through it. So like you'll all know about the show, and we'll see, and you see like me screw up names and get continuity wrong. And you know, that's another reason why I have Dennis on board. He's can really nitpick the details. So he's really good at that stuff. He's really good at picking stuff up. Me, I'm a squirrel, you know, so, okay. You'll be on the shows better, you know, seriously. Man of action. You're a good man of action. You are a man of action. And thanks for coming in the chat. I appreciate it, man. It's good to see you here. And I'm sure I will see you in other places like I Love Comics and I'm going to be on a live stream on Comics Division on Thursday too. We're going to talk about comic book marketing. All right, everybody. I'm going to end this one. Penn Farm Girl says, I binged the first 6. Get ready for this. Oh, you did? I binged the first 6 getting ready for this. I'd swore I'd be, I'd only do 1. Oh, so you couldn't stop. I get it. I can't read. I made it to where I had to, because I know I'm bad at this stuff. So Silver Spike, thank you very much. And definitely email me. I want to talk to you about Doctor Who stuff. See you later, man of action. Mark, I always mess up your last name. Magnenet. I'll get that right. Mark, thanks for coming in. Ed Brewer, always good to see you. Belinda, thank you very much. Viking Bitch, of course. How's your father? Ben Dover was here. If I missed anybody, sorry. Kylan King Music. Are you new? Have you popped up a couple times? Welcome. Jody, of course, our moderator, who did a good job the other night on somebody. And Rotnorg, Ray Rain. And I want to make sure I try to thank everybody who comes in here. I know this, you might suffer this in the audio portion, but trust me, it's nice to thank the chatters. And the Ben Talks. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Thank you to all the patrons. Please check us out at nerdrotic.com. We will be back tonight if you're watching this live at 7:30-ish Pacific Standard Time. I might do another quick video earlier if I get back from the gym. So yeah, look for live streams kind of all day and night. I'm just going to have some fun because it's just me and my oldest son, and you know, he's old. He doesn't have time for his dad anymore. So that's cool. Oh, wow. There goes a mouse. Yeah, we'll just end it there and I'll see you later. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that bell. We love subscribers, and hit the like button. So may the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Good night, everybody. Thank you.